Welcome into Path to the Playoffs. Casey Phillips here with senior writer and editor Scott Smith, and this is where we tell you what the Bucs need to do, what the rest of the league needs to do to ensure the Buccaneers get a playoff spot. We do one of these every week to update you based on what has happened the previous weekend. So let's start there. What all happened this weekend, and how does it affect the Buccaneers' playoff chase?
Yes, the Buccaneers needed three things to happen in order to clinch the division and thus a playoff spot this past weekend, but only got two of them. Fortunately, one of them was the Bucs' own victory, which was by far the most important part of that. The Falcons did us a favor by beating the Panthers, which actually ended up eliminating both teams when the Bucs won, because the Panthers are now 5 back with 4 to go, and the Falcons are 4 back, but the Bucs have the 2 head-to-head wins over them. So the only team left that can still challenge the Bucs for the NFC South division is New Orleans, because New Orleans beat the Jets pretty handily, breaking their own 5-game losing streak and staying just 4 games behind the Buccaneers. So what that means is the Bucs have a 4-game lead in the division with 4 to go over the Saints. Also, this is important, the Buccaneers jumped over from 3rd to 2nd in the overall conference standings because the Cardinals lost to the Rams, and now the Bucs, Packers, and Cardinals are all 10-3. Green Bay gets the top spot because they have the best record within the conference. There's no head-to-head between those 3 teams, so you go to conference games. And then the Buccaneers and the Cardinals have the same record within conference games, but the Bucs have a better record, or have a better strength of victory, which is the next one that applies. At the moment, by the end of the season, there'll be different tiebreakers, but at the moment, that gives the Buccaneers the number 2, which is important because even if you don't get the number 1, if you get the number 2 seed, you get a home game to start, and if you win that game, you're guaranteed a second home game. So the number 2 seed is much more valuable than the number 3 seed. So it's a good start for the Buccaneers as they try to chase another one of these.
Yeah, I love it. That's a great point. Okay, so now what can happen this weekend? What are the things at stake, and what could the Bucs lock up?
Well, as you can figure out with pretty easy math, if the Buccaneers are 4 games up over only 1 team remaining in the division with 4 to go, all the Bucs have to do is win 1 game in the next 4 weeks, and they've got it. Or the Saints lose 1 game in the next 4 weeks. Well, as it turns out, the Buccaneers are playing the Saints, so they can take care of both halves of that equation on Sunday night. And, you know, I think the Bucs would have loved to have clinched this last week, but I got to say, I've heard some people saying the way it works out, it could be pretty satisfying if the Buccaneers win the division for the first time since 2007 by actually beating the Saints, who have beaten them 6 times in a row in the regular season and who have won the division the last 4 times. It's almost like you'd be taking the traveling trophy directly away from the Saints. So that would be pretty cool. There is also a scenario where the Buccaneers can get a playoff spot this weekend without winning the division. And that would be, even if the Bucs lose, if San Francisco loses to Atlanta and Minnesota loses to Chicago on Monday night, the Buccaneers would clinch a playoff spot, but not get the division. Both of those teams you need to win there are pretty significant underdogs, unfortunately.
Yeah, so let's just, finish the job with the win over the Saints, and that just takes care of everything right there.
That's all you gotta do.
All right, well, that is going to do it for us on this edition of Path to the Playoffs. We will be back here next week to update you based on all the events of the weekend, so we'll see you then.